You're watching Public Affairs. Berkowitz is my name, and politics is our game. And we will be doing lots of politics and public policy this evening because we have as our guest Dr. Willie Wilson, one of a number of... Right. I mean, so everybody's running out with reforms now. They're all distancing themselves from, Ed who, They don't really know this guy. They might know his wife, Ann Burke, Well, that's what they say, they're friends with Ann, but, he was out there raising money. I mean, there was that $10,000 contribution that, basically this was a shakedown thing, right?
Yeah, it appeared to be, that's what it's been about. I think all of them got mud on them, I've said a long time ago, Chicago politics corrupts,
Right.
And I've said from the get-go, when I become mayor of the city of Chicago, I will have an audit done every 3 months of every department in the city of Chicago to help get rid of corruption.
But an audit doesn't do it. It's a shakedown. There was this guy from Burger King. He had like 100 more restaurants around Cook County, Lake County, other areas, but from out of town. He sort of didn't know necessarily the Chicago way. And so, he's doing some remodeling from you know about this, but you had 5 McDonald's
that's correct. That's correct.
From time to time, you want to, remodel your thing.
Yeah,
if it's a Burger King or a McDonald's. So he's remodeling, he's got to get a permit, a driveway permit. Right?
Right.
And traffic going in and out or whatever. And it's slowed down. He can't seem to get this permit, so he can't seem to get this done. And they're talking to him about, they have a guy go out there and, Burke, and he's got somebody else talking to the guy about, maybe we can get some of your legal business.
Well, if you look at the record, my understanding is that he, being a lawyer in his firm, right?
Ed Burke, yeah.
Ed Burke.
Yeah.
Get a lot of business just from that as well. So it doesn't look good, It doesn't look good for Preckwinkle, none of them. Even Mendoza, how can you be married at a person's home and now you kicking them under the bus, all right? And saying was no friend, disassociate himself with. That and Tony Preckwinkle, we had to force her to give up the $116,000 back to him. Now, she should be disqualified for that.
For taking that much money?
But not only taking that much money, not even reporting it.
Oh, she didn't report it. She reported some of it maybe. But that $10,000, so Burke's saying, look, you want to get this thing remodeling going. We're gonna need some business here. We want to find out.
Right.
And they'll check. They say they'll look into that, okay. And, maybe he said you should spread some money around for politicians. Here's Tony Preckwinkle. It would be nice to give her a, $10,000 contribution. So they didn't report that until after this came out. Then they filed it and filed that they had returned it because it was in excess of the amount. It's all sort of foggy. Yeah. But the main thing is there's a shakedown. The aldermen all have this privilege. If you can't get them to okay something that's going on in their ward, it's not going to go on. What do they call that? Alderman's privilege, right?
Yeah, I call it shakedown, kickback, dishonest.
So they should just cut those out. Aldermen should not have that kind of sway, right?
Yeah.
Is that one thing? Would you favor that kind of reform?
Well, yeah, but you shouldn't be running for office and claiming as a servant to benefit self. See, so you shouldn't be doing that. If you're running as a servant, you are to serve the people. You should,
of course, you shouldn't be doing it, and it's illegal, and you can be doing. Ed Burke can be doing time if he's convicted. We should say all of these things are allegations, but there are wiretaps.
Yeah.
The criminal complaint cites to the wiretaps, so it's not going to be a matter of whether he said, she said, because they're going to play the wiretap.
Right. And evidently, the FBI don't just take them and go in your office unless they got some.
Well, right. They have to go to a judge, and there has to be a basis that.
Proper reason.
Apparently, this Burger King egg was upset. He must have gone to somebody and got to the U.S. attorney, and the U.S. attorney goes to the judge and says, here, this guy's saying this. We need to do a wiretap.
Right.
The judge approves the wiretap, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that, I said the other day at the news conference, I think all the politicians right now present, all right, with the associated in terms of with the city of Chicago, running for mayor, all the men and women, now they trying to show they're progressive. I think all of them should resign. They have done the city a total disservice. You know, they should just pick up their stuff and go home.
But they're not going to before the race. Preckwinkle, Preckwinkle now has something like 2.2 million, maybe more, that she's raised. We'll find out when this, I guess the next report comes out in a few days.
Yeah, but you still like this here though. You know you're guilty, with all this stuff coming up on you. You know you didn't do the right thing, okay? So
what did Preckwinkle do wrong?
Well, she didn't report the dollar.
Okay, but that's a minor slap. You can just amend your report, and then there's not even a fine if you amend it.
But wait till the other report comes out on her, where they're going to tie you up too. Why did she just now reporting that? It raised too many questions.
You think she's hiding something else?
Well, if she gonna say she's gonna run for the county board president and lie to the people, and then turn around and run for mayor of the city of Chicago, and then getting paid for president of the county board, now she's working over here, still getting paid while she's running for mayor. That's an integrity problem.
Yeah, you think people are going to care about that?
I care about it.
You care about it, but what about the voters?
I think they care about it as well. I think when a person runs for an office, that you voted for them to get in their office, and you didn't make them aware that you were going to run for mayor of the city of Chicago, I feel betrayed. I think a lot of other people feel betrayed.
Susana Mendoza, she was a state rep for 10 years. After she was a state rep, she was making statements about Burke, what a mentor he was, and how helpful he was to learn how to become state rep. She couldn't have become state rep without him. Now she's kind of trying to put some distance. Can she do that?
She tied to the same old cloth. Those are made of the same cloth. So they got this situation. She lied until the day she got sworn in. Then she said, "I'm running for mayor."
Yeah, but she was running for re-election for Comptroller.
Well, she was running for Comptroller, and then she came back and ran for mayor. If you lie, try to fool the people on different things to catch up with you. You didn't just start it, She lied. She kicked him under the bus, So that doesn't look good,
So what about Bill Daley?
Bill Daley got money. I think he up at about $3 million, something like that.
Raised for a lot of corporations and friends,
The same
wealthy people, the sort of corporate type, the downtown people.
Same people who Ron got his money from. He's already been bought. These guys and ladies been already bought by the people, the corporate and everything else. Tony Preckwinkle was bought by the union, The other one was bought by Burke. And when you are bought by someone, you got to do what they say do, right? That's why when I put my own money into the race without anybody else per se, and to make sure that we don't have the influence, nobody have the influence on me but the people, So this is an issue here in Chicago, and citizens deserve better. And that's why I'm running, matter of fact, not running for a personal reason, again. So
you're self-financing completely.
99.99%.
How much do you think you'll spend at the end of the day?
Whatever it takes. So far,
How much have you spent so far?
Over millions of bucks.
About $1 million, really?
More money, right?
Okay.
Yeah. But we'll do whatever it takes. We ain't got but 6 weeks left.
A lot of TV ads?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got TV ad. We got signs all over the community. We're knocking on doors, going to different activity, including our churches. We've been doing that anyway, but we're getting out into the community to find out what the issues are,
Well, so you're making a big thing about about the bail hearings, right? About the people who are nonviolent, who are being held in jail, and who are not making bail. Is that right?
That's correct. It's law now that Chief Judge Tim Evans said that people should get a second look. Right.
There was a law that was passed. You were pushing for that over a year ago. It was passed, a year ago, I think.
We got it passed, right. They're not listening to it. They're not doing it.
Who's supposed to enforce this?
Well, Tony Preckwinkle appoint the public defender.
She appoints the public defender.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so if she tells them, let's follow the law, then it wouldn't be any issue.
Well, somebody's got to go to a judge and get the judge to release these folks based on their own signature, right?
Yeah,
That's what the law says, but there has to be a second look, a hearing, right?
That's right, uh-huh.
So is the public defender supposed to ask for a hearing, and who do they ask, a judge?
Well, they supposed to, when you get arrested, within 7 hours or 24 hours or 48 hours, whichever one it is, I forgot exactly, there should be somebody that represents you, a counselor.
Right.
But if you have money, you can afford to pay your own.
Your own lawyer.
Right. These young men, young lady, cannot even afford to pay $100 and in jail for a year or 2 years. Now, and they're waiting, they still haven't had a trial. They still haven't had a trial, okay? But they're waiting that a year, 2 or 3 years, haven't got a trial. If they were punished by the situation that they were doing.
Well, is the public defender supposed to file something asking the judge for a hearing?
No, it's supposed to be automatically.
This hearing's supposed to happen automatically.
Automatic. That's what the law, Chief Judge Evans.
But who's supposed to? So is it Evans who's falling down on the job?
No, I think right now it appears to be Tony Preckwinkle. But I also
How can she make it happen? She's just the Cook County Board President. What can she do? What does she have to do with the courts?
Well, here's what you got to do. Here's how the thing works. I sent a letter today to Tony Preckwinkle, Chief Judge Evans,
Right.
all right, Kim Fox,
Right. State's attorney.
State's attorney, and also I forget the other young lady, Campanella. I said she's in charge of the public defender, right? So I sent a letter to all 5 of them,
Okay.
right? So we can pull it together and find out why aren't they following the law.
You expect to follow up on this?
Right.
You had a protest today.
We had a
in front
protest
of
today.
Preckwinkle's office, right?
Right.
Okay.
And we delivered the letters to them. The next step is suing them. So I will sue to take it into court. That's the next step if they doesn't get it together themselves.
All right, so that's part of what your focus is. But you know, there's all this reform effort from Lori Lightfoot. Lori's kind of clean, right? She's not. Is she clean? I mean, she's not tied in with this power establishment, is she?
Well, she worked for Ron Emanuel for a long time.
Well, she was appointed by him to the police board, right?
Yeah.
She didn't really work for him, right?
Well, she was appointed.
Yeah.
If somebody appoints you to something, that means you associate with that person.
So you think she owes Ron for that?
Well, I mean, I think anybody who's a friend of Ron Emanuel is an enemy to the citizens of Chicago. With all the stuff that he went through and he did.
Yeah, okay. So she wants term limits for the aldermen, term limits for this is what Lori's asking for, council chairmanships, term limits for the mayor. These are some of the ethical reforms she thinks will make things better. You agree with her?
Well,
Would you support her in those efforts?
Well, look, she didn't bring it up when she was working for the mayor, appointed. She didn't bring it up
Well, she's bringing it up now because now that it's like everybody had their eyes opened by seeing the report, the criminal complaint of the shakedown, accusing Ed Burke of a shakedown. Before that, people say, well, they suspected things, but there was no criminal complaint. And now, he's not convicted yet, but now there's a criminal complaint.
Yeah.
So
well,
that's what they say is the difference. You don't give them that?
No, I don't give it to them. Because I was speaking out against the mayor of the city of Chicago and all the other politicians of Chicago, aldermen, way before I even decided to run for mayor.
Even before 2015 when you ran that?
I was bringing it up then.
Okay.
Yeah. So the people who now is bringing it up, they got out there and worked for them, appointed for them. Never did say a word. Never did say a word about that, but not even raising on the property taxes, the bag taxes and things of that nature, all right? Nobody said nothing, all right? But now they want to get into office for mayor of the city of Chicago, and they're not getting in for the right reason because they're getting money from major corporation, and that's who they got to be beholden to first before the community.
Okay.
You know, and these guys and ladies out here, some of them didn't jump into the race until after the mayor said he wasn't going to run.
Right.
So what you call that? You call that, I think the Bible speak of it, Moses got the children out of Pharaoh, Egypt. You know, let my people go.
Uh-huh.
Well, Ron resigned. They need to come off the plantation now and do the right thing by the people.
Okay.
You heard of Moses, right?
We've heard of Moses, absolutely. Okay, so let's go over some issues. I mean, people say the major issue here, before you really can do anything to help a lot of the people that politicians say they want to help, is deal with the pension issue, right? Because, the magnitude of this problem, you have these unions in the city of Chicago, police union, fire union, labor union, city employee union, $42 billion unfunded debt. That's what Moody said, $42 billion. Okay? And then the taxpayers in Chicago, they have a share. They're a taxpayer for Chicago, but they live in the state of Illinois. So there are these unfunded pensions that the state of Illinois has. And so people who estimate this at WirePoint say $53 billion is what the Chicago taxpayers owe on these unfunded pensions for Illinois. And CPS, the Chicago Public Schools, is another $27 billion in unfunded. Cook County is another $8 billion for the share of the people who live in the city of Chicago. And then there's the share of the state retiree health benefits. You total that up, it's almost $150 billion.
Let me tell you what.
Does that resonate with you?
Oh, yeah, very much so. We won't get out of debt overnight, all right? But I've said when I ran for mayor last time, we should have a casino. We should legalize and tax marijuana. We should open up Magfield, the airport. So you add them all together, so that come up $3 or $4 billion.
Is it 3 or 4? Because last time we went through it, in terms of what the city gets out of it.
Well, I want to
in terms of the city like the casino, they may just get, what, 400 million, something like that. What the city gets. I'm not talking total revenue.
We understand that. But here's the thing here.
So I thought last time when you and I went through this, we come up from the casino, from legalizing marijuana, from MIGs, from,
But look, it's going to take more than
mismanagement. I think you said about $1 billion total. That's $1 billion.
Mismanagement, right.
That's $1 billion total.
Right, but here is
that's not nothing, but there's $150 billion that the city taxpayers kind of owe on these pensions.
But here where you do it though, you mismanagement means this here too. Look how many people you're running out of Chicago to Indiana because of high taxes. Look how many people you're running away, not only businesses, but people themselves. You're running out of the state.
Oh yeah,
okay.
State's lost population now 5 years in a row.
Right. Look how much money.
Population's going out. Businesses are going out.
Right. you keep those taxes lower, so people stay in the city. You keep taxes lower, so the corporation can stay in the city and create jobs and wealth.
That's your push. Keep the taxes down.
Keep those taxes down. All right. Taxes down, mismanagement, bringing those extra dollars in from the airport, make them citizen ownership. You're right. You got to attack the leadership of all the unions, because look, we know that we got to have equality in all 77 communities. All right. We had to deal with the situation with the union to get things back in line. We got to create trade within the school, within the community, those 8 communities that really have a tough time.
But under the Illinois Constitution, you cannot decrease those pension benefits, the state Supreme Court said, because the Constitution says that. Some people, Daley says, maybe we should look at amending the Constitution to allow us to diminish those benefits. Would you agree with Bill Daley on that?
No, not at all.
No?
Because if you work 30, 40, 50 years, you're entitled to your pension.
Okay, so
right.
But that solution's, you can't do anything to those benefits. So that solution's off the table, right?
Chicago must stand up to what is right. We can work it out because the
unions aren't going to give you anything if the law says they don't have to. Right?
Well, yeah, but we're going to have to sit down and deal with it because nobody gets nowhere at that period. That's one of the situations that the leadership of the union going to have to come to grip with and talk and work it out. Because otherwise than that, what you going to have at the end of the day? No people in Chicago, no business in Chicago. We're not going to let them drain the city. Nobody there. Now, we all have to do it as a team, and we're going to work it out.
They're going to work it out. The unions are going to come to the table. You're the mayor. You're going to bring them to the table and said, you guys got to give something voluntarily. Is that what you're going to do? You're going to ask them to give it voluntarily?
Well, here we're going at it. We're going to get down, take pencil and paper, and sit and work things out just like I do my business.
With everybody, all the
Everybody.
stakeholders.
And community.
And the community.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So talking about the community, let's go to education. You've been talking for months about you don't want the schools being closed, how terrible that was.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But, you know, CPS has got major problems, right?
A lot of problems.
In a lot of these schools, they're operating at like 20%, 30% of capacity, right? Can you keep schools open and run them efficiently at 20, 30% of capacity? Do you think you'd have to do some consolidation and then improve the quality of the schools? I'm not saying just leave them the way they are.
I think what you got to do is just with those schools, because you won't be able to open them all, every one of them back up because people will move out to other places.
You're not
right?
going to, yeah.
Yeah, right. But
I don't know if you can open any of them, can you?
Well, yeah. We still got a lot of people in the neighborhood, the African American, Latina, and poor neighborhood. We still got people in those particular communities that needs a school. So let's say that there was a 50 school closed down, roughly what it was.
Right.
Let's say you go in there, you put 25 more schools open up because the population is.
These would be new schools or the same schools
New
that you closed?
New school. Because we got to put high tech and technology.
So
and things
they're going to have
like
more
that there.
technology?
Yeah, but why?
What else are you going to do to help? I mean, these kids, Daley said this, Bill Daley, he said, you know, only 30% of these kids, minority kids, read at grade level. And, you know, so there's only, people talk about the number of kids going to college, but again, of the low-income minorities, you're getting something like 6 or 7% of the high school graduates in CPS actually go on to a 4-year college or to any kind of vocational training. That's not a very good statistic, right?
I will make sure that we take 15% of all tax dollars come in, put it into a trust, that those people who cannot afford a college education, be able to go to school and get a good college education.
You think that's why those kids aren't going? They're capable, they're competent, they just don't have the money?
The resources.
You think that's what it is?
Yeah, but you also don't have the resources within the community in terms of creating job and contract. But if you can do it for Half-Field, $8 billion, all right? You can certainly find $1 billion or $2 billion to put in those communities and bring them back alive.
You talk to anybody like downtown, the downtown culture, you go to these people and say, look, I'm running for mayor. If I'm elected, you're going to work with me to change this so we don't have $8 billion going to O'Hare, maybe $6 billion? Are you reaching out to people like that?
I reach out to a lot of the major people who donated money to the past mayor and the people who right now. I've sent them a letter, not one have returned my call.
You can't get them. Well, what are you going to do? If you get to be mayor, you're going to have to somehow bring these people into, it's got to be a broader group, right?
Well, yeah, but
you're going to need white people, black people, Hispanic people.
We got them all. We got them a part of the staff. We visit all the communities.
But so far, these folks who you're reaching out to aren't getting back to you.
Well, those are the major corporations who spend the big dollars. Spend the big dollars, right?
But they're not getting back to you. You're going to have to get through.
These not getting back to me. Those one there, I've not got a call back from one, and I want to sit down and talk. Well, what reason why are they giving people like Daley the money?
Well, they feel they can trust them. They know the Daleys. They know Richard J. You know, going back to '55. They knew Richard M. was there for 22 years. Now they figure Bill Daley, he's one of them. Okay.
Well, yeah.
I mean, Willie,
yeah.
You're a nice guy. I like you. But are you one of them?
No.
You're not one of these corporate guys. I mean, you're a multimillionaire, but you're not one of these corporate guys, are you?
But check my record, how much money I give away and help the community. And get things passed and everything else. Yeah. First off, I think you should give tax break to all major and small business out here so that they can stay in Chicago without moving out because they create jobs. Okay. All right, we're losing.
You can do that. You mean property tax breaks to these folks?
Yeah,
you can do that because the city's got a property tax, so you can run that through the city council to change the law to give a tax break to these guys, right?
We must do it because a lot of people now think they own their home and they don't even own them.
Okay. We only got a few minutes left. Let's focus a little bit on violence.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this before, okay?
Yeah.
You keep saying it's jobs, jobs, jobs.
I still say the same thing there. Job, job, job. It's contract, contract, contract. It's economic equality for all citizens. Imperative.
But you got, you
to-
know, you got to do more. I mean, you got this, true, the number of homicides have come down, but still Chicago has the combined level of LA and New York. If you add those together, you come up with the Chicago homicides after we've had a decrease for the last 2 years.
Well, you know what?
You're still getting way more, in other words, homicides in Chicago than you get in New York, than you get in LA. How come?
Well, the condition. All right, look at this here.
Chicago's in worse shape than New York and LA?
Well, I haven't
I
studied.
mean, they got some issues there too.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
got inner city issues.
Yeah, but Chicago has got some serious problem with violence. All right, the reason for violence, you don't put the resources in that. You're putting police and behind more and crime going up.
You got to get the people to trust the police.
Leadership, trust
So
the
the
police.
people, if they trust, they can turn in some people. They can cooperate. You know, we've got this clearance rate of like 17% of homicides. That's all that get prosecuted, because you know what? You don't have the evidence. People are not cooperating, right?
Well, I
Because they don't trust the police. Do they?
But here's the thing: who bringing in the guns? Who making the guns? Right? Who bringing in the drugs? Who making the drugs? All right. So if
Who is doing that? The bad guys.
well,
right?
the poor community is not bringing in guns because they ain't got the money to buy them. All right. The poor community is not bringing in drugs because they ain't got the money to buy them on large scales. All right. But so unless you and look, the mayor, leadership, and the police department know who's bringing this in. They got undercover police officer. Look, every time you hear an arrest about drug, majority of the time, it's about the person on the street.
So we have enough police. We've got enough detectives. We don't need more of those guys.
We got enough of them, right? But we need to take that integrated and with equality in terms of jobs and contract to make sure that people can get along. You cannot teach races, but you can bring them together and communicate together.
Okay, so you've heard it. You've seen Willie Wilson a few times. We'd like to see the other guests. We hope that we'd like to see the other candidates. We haven't seen Susana Mendoza. We haven't seen Bill Daley. We haven't seen Tony Preckwinkle. So those folks come back, and you come back next week and every week to Public Affairs.